You have never lost an argument because you were wrong. You lost because you were playing a game you did not understand while your opponent was playing a different one entirely. Think about the last time someone got the better of you in a conversation. You had the facts. You had the logic. You had the truth sitting right there in your hands like a loaded weapon, and somehow you still walked away feeling smaller than when you started. That is not an accident. That is not bad luck. That is technique, and technique can be learned. Most people believe an argument is won with information. They stack up statistics, they quote experts, they build airtight logical structures brick by brick, and they wait for the other person to simply agree because the evidence demands it. This is the single greatest delusion in human communication. Arguments are not won in the mind. They are won in the nervous system. Every person you have ever argued with was not actually listening to your words. They were scanning you, reading your posture, your tone, the speed of your breath, the flicker in your eyes when they pushed back. Long before their brain processed your argument, their body had already decided whether you were someone to be respected or someone to be dismissed. And once that decision gets made, no fact you produce afterward will change it. This is why the smartest person in the room so often loses to the most composed one. There is a reason certain people seem to bend entire rooms toward their point of view without ever raising their voice. It is not charisma in the way you have been taught to think about it. It is control. Specifically, control over the one variable almost nobody thinks to manage: their own physiological state under pressure. The moment your heart rate spikes, the moment your voice climbs half an octave higher, the moment your words start arriving faster than your thoughts can organize them, you have already announced defeat to everyone in the conversation, including yourself. Here is what the greatest negotiators, trial lawyers, and political operators in history understood instinctively. An argument is a contest of nervous systems disguised as a contest of ideas. Whoever stays regulated while the other person escalates has already won, regardless of who is technically correct. This single insight will change the way you walk into every disagreement for the rest of your life, but it is only the beginning. Because staying calm is not a technique, it is a precondition. The real machinery of persuasion lives one level deeper, in a set of moves so quiet that the person on the receiving end never even realizes they are being worked. They think they changed their mind. They think they saw reason. They have no idea that the shift happened somewhere else entirely, in a place logic cannot reach and facts cannot touch. Tonight you are going to learn exactly what that place is, and exactly how to reach it in anyone, in any argument, in under 60 seconds. The first move happens before either of you says a single word of substance. It is called framing, and almost everyone who loses an argument has already lost it here without realizing the fight even started. Whoever defines what the argument is actually about controls the entire exchange. If you let the other person decide that this is a fight about who is right, you have already stepped into a trap, because being right in an argument and winning an argument are two almost entirely unrelated events. The moment you accept their frame, you are now defending a position on their terms, in their territory, using their rules. You are playing an away game and calling it home. Watch what happens the next time someone accuses you of something in the middle of a disagreement. They will say something like, "You always do this," or "You never listen." The untrained mind immediately defends against the accusation. It explains, it justifies, it produces evidence of all the times it did listen. And in doing that, it has just accepted their frame completely. It is now arguing inside a box the other person built, and every word spent inside that box makes the box more real. The trained mind does something completely different. It refuses to enter the box at all. It calmly names what is happening instead of reacting to it. Something as simple as noticing out loud that the conversation has shifted from the actual issue to a character attack does more damage to the other person's position than any counteraccusation ever could. You are no longer defending. You are observing. And the person doing the observing always appears to be standing above the conflict rather than inside it. This leads to the second move, and this is where things get uncomfortable for most people to hear. Silence is not the absence of a response. Silence is a response, and it is very often the most devastating one available to you. When someone throws an emotional accusation at you expecting an emotional reaction, and you simply do not give them one, something strange happens in their mind. They prepared for resistance. They prepared for defense. They did not prepare for nothing, and nothing is unbearable to the human ego. A pause of even 3 or 4 seconds before you respond will make most people in an argument start talking again, filling the gap, often walking back their own point without you saying a word. You have not attacked them. You have simply refused to feed the exchange the fuel it needed to keep burning, and fires without fuel die on their own. But silence used carelessly is just as ineffective as impulsive shouting. There is a precise difference between silence that reads as weakness and silence that reads as control. And it comes down to one thing most people never think about: what your face and body are doing while your mouth stays shut. If your eyes dart away, if your shoulders pull in, if your hands start fidgeting, the silence signals retreat. But if your gaze stays level, if your posture stays open and unhurried, that same silence signals something the other person's nervous system reads as dominance, whether they could ever explain why. Now here is where most people would stop, thinking they have learned the whole game. Frame the conversation. Hold your composure. Use silence with intention. These are solid tools, and they will already put you ahead of 90% of people who walk into disagreements with nothing but volume and conviction. But there is a deeper layer beneath all of this, a mechanism that explains why some people can be told they are wrong and simply smile, completely unbothered, while others unravel after a single pointed question. It has nothing to do with confidence in the way you have been taught to understand that word. It has to do with where a person's sense of self is actually located. And once you understand this, you will never be rattled in an argument again. Every person carries their identity somewhere. For most people, that identity is scattered outward, hanging on the opinions of others like laundry on a line, flapping whichever way the wind blows. This is why a stranger's insult can ruin someone's entire afternoon. This is why a single disagreement can feel like a threat to someone's whole existence. Their sense of self is not inside them. It is outside them, drifting between other people's mouths, and anyone who wants to control that person only has to reach out and grab it. The person who cannot be rattled has done something almost nobody else bothers to do. They have pulled their identity back inside their own skin. Their sense of who they are does not depend on whether you agree with them in this exact moment, on this exact Tuesday, in this exact conversation. Which means your disagreement costs them nothing. And when disagreement costs a person nothing, they have no reason to defend, no reason to escalate, no reason to raise their voice. They can simply sit there, absorb whatever you throw at them, and respond from a place of total stability, because nothing you say can actually touch the thing they are truly standing on. This is the real secret behind why certain people seem unshakable under pressure, while others crumble at the first sign of resistance. It was never about intelligence. It was never about having better arguments memorized and ready to fire. It was about where they were standing when the argument began. So how do you actually build this? You do not build it by pretending you do not care, because pretending is fragile and cracks under real pressure. You build it by separating two things almost everyone fuses together without realizing it: your ideas and your worth. The moment someone challenges an idea you hold, ask yourself a single question before responding. If this idea turned out to be wrong, would that make me a worse person? The honest answer is almost always no. Once you can feel that distinction in your body and not just understand it in your head, arguments stop being threats and start being something closer to a game you are simply better equipped to play than the person across from you. And this is where every piece you have learned tonight starts working together instead of separately. You control the frame instead of accepting theirs. You wield silence instead of fearing it. And underneath all of it, you are standing on ground that does not shift no matter what they throw at you. A person operating from this state does not need to raise their voice, does not need to win every point, does not even need the other person to admit defeat out loud. They simply continue existing, calm and unmoved, while the other person exhausts themselves trying to produce a reaction that never arrives. That absence of reaction is the most disorienting thing you can hand another human being in the middle of a conflict. It forces them to sit with their own words, unanswered, unchallenged, and strangely unwelcome in the silence that follows. Most people cannot tolerate that silence for long. They will backtrack. They will soften. They will, without ever admitting it, concede. You do not need to win every argument by shouting louder or knowing more facts than the person across from you. You need to be the only person in the room who is not performing. Everyone else is reacting, defending, escalating, needing to be right. You are simply present, unmoved, and completely in control of a game the other person did not even know was being played. That is not luck. That is not charisma. That is a skill, and it is one you now have the blueprint to build for the rest of your life. If you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe. I've got a lot more coming, and if you found it useful, leave a like. I'll see you in the next one.